And first and foremost, in the relationships, in intimacy, we got to get rid of this Hollywood romanticized that it's this all head over heels, I love you every day. That's part of it, but that's a very minimal part of it, right? A relationship is built on trust and it's built on communication. But just like Brutus, you can't ever fully communicate to your significant other if you don't What's going on, guys? It's a great day to be alive, a great day to embody truth, to pursue truth, to live out truth. I'm tired of this division that has been created between men and women, good men, good women. I want to begin to see the complementary aspects of a good man and a good woman. But we live in an age where there is this extreme feminist and this extreme chauvinist lumping all men and women into either one of those categories, and it's actually creating a chasm. This is the Better Man channel, where we seek truth. We seek to embody masculinity. We seek to be better men, good men, and to begin to live out those virtues, those characteristics. I want to begin to explore those dynamics somewhat between a good man and a good woman. And I want to use the idea of yin and yang. I think that's a beautiful description, a beautiful example of the dynamics of not only men and women, but life in general. That constant harmony of chaos and order, of back and forth. But I want to preface this with the story of Brutus and Porticato. Brutus, most famously being one of the co-conspirators and assassins against Julius Caesar, and Portia Cato, his wife, the daughter of the Stoic Cato. And in this story, they're married, and Portia is in love with Brutus, absolutely in love with him. But he's got some things going on. He's been allies with Julius Caesar, but the Caesar's turning into this autocratic, tyrannical leader. And so the Senate begins to conspire to assassinate this man so they can gain some freedom, gain some liberty. So he's got a lot of things going on in his life. And Portia notices this. She sees that he's distant. She sees that something's up and he doesn't trust me. He's not confiding in me. And one of the principles of yin and yang is that when one increases, the other decreases. It's this ebb and flow, this beautiful dance, if you will. And so instead of being like most women or most people who want to gossip and run and go to their friends and he's not treating me good and I'm blaming him and pointing fingers at him and why doesn't he love me and what's wrong with him, she goes inward. That stoic insight of I'm going inward to see what the problem is. How can I fix it? How can I address it? What can I do as his wife? She doesn't lash out at him. She doesn't blame him. She doesn't scream at him. She goes inward. She's saying he must not trust me. He must think that I'm not loyal, that I would misuse his trust, and that my body wouldn't be loyal, that my emotions wouldn't be loyal. What can I do to remedy this situation? And just like that yin and yang, he's increased in a position of logical thinking. What can I do? I'm probably going to have to betray my friend, my ally, but in the name of liberty. And he's got this big, heavy burden to shoulder. And she sees that. But she recognizes that in his increased moment, she must decrease. And she decreases inward so that she can find a remedy to the solution. And she recognizes that I'm going to have to win his trust. I'm going to have to be a woman that he knows he can trust. And first and foremost, in the relationships, in intimacy, we got to get rid of this Hollywood romanticized that it's this all head over heels, I love you every day. That's part of it, but that's a very minimal part of it, right? A relationship is built on trust and it's built on communication. But just like Brutus, you can't ever fully communicate to your significant other if you don't trust them. And so Portia goes inward and recognizes, I'm going to have to do something that he can trust. I'm going to have to win his trust, show him I'm loyal. So while he's gone for the day, she picks up a butcher knife, stabs herself in the thigh. And most historians believe that it could have been up to a day before he returned. So she's bleeding out. She has chills. She has fever. He returns and she tells him, listen, I'm your wife. I'm dedicated to you, but more than that, I'm your partner. You can confide in me. And maybe you didn't trust me. You didn't trust my body. You thought maybe even under torture that I would abuse what you confided in me. And I would become the person that ratted you out. But look, I stabbed myself. I didn't move. I stayed in the position. My loyalty is to you. I will never misuse your trust. I will never misuse the loyalty that I would show to you. And this wins him over. He's like, oh my God, this woman has stabbed herself in the name of loyalty, in the name of trust. This is my partner. This is my woman. This is my wife. And he confides in her. And he tells her about, the trepidation and all this that's been going on within him. And they win each other over. And in that moment, she is increased in her ability to show him who she is. And he decreases in the ability to confide in her and be vulnerable and open to her. And it's that yin and yang flow of she increased to show her loyalty. He decreased that kind of stubborn, standoffish, dominant man stubbornness and open up to her. They won each other over in that moment. And he goes on with the co-conspirators to assassinate Brutus. There's a short time period of peace, but then they go to civil war and he has to leave her again. But in that loyalty and that trust, she's okay with him leaving. He's okay with leaving. They both know they have an admirable and worthy partner that goes with that yin and yang, that order and chaos. They play off of each other. They complement each other. And I know that's a long story, but I want to preface that into going into the dynamics of the yin and yang. Yin being the woman, being receptive, being the darkness, being the restful period, right? When it's dark, we go to rest. We're that receptive woman, feminine trait. Yang being representing sun and action, man going out and doing. And the awesome thing about this yin and yang that can relate in what the dynamics of man and woman should be is that there's not this hierarchical value system. You can't have one with the other. It's like you can't have the sun without the moon. You can't have the dawn without the dusk. They go hand in hand. Just as summer, fall, winter, spring, summer, fall, winter. It's this ever-flowing infinite flow of harmony. You can't have one with the other. One increases, the other decreases. And that's the dynamics that I want to talk about in men and women. Again, I'm tired of an extreme feminist painting all women in that horrible, deplorable picture of arrogant ignorance. And I'm tired of the chauvinist male thinking that all women are that way. And so I'm just going to be this badass, isolated man that hates everybody. Because in reality, there's always a big majority in the middle that feels neither way, right? If you're anything like me, I just want the ability to have encounters and relationships and intimate relationships with a strong, good woman. And I want to be that strong, good man. And I think for the most part, the majority of society wants this. But we're so brainwashed and inundated with all this external loud noise because it's always the ignorant that are the loudest. So these extreme feminists caught up in this woke movement where we have fat phobia and math is racist now. We're getting caught up in such this ignorance and this weakness that they're just lashing out and screaming for something, for someone to hear them. While the majority of people just want to be damn good people. But again, we're so inundated with, well, there must not be any good men out there because that's all I hear from the loudest. And then you have both sides just divisive and there's this chasm and they're throwing their hands up in the air. I want to speak for the majority. I want to speak for those that, like me, believe and have faith in humanity that we can and are good people. And yes, there's horrible, despicable people out there. And there's always going to be bad women. There's going to be bad men. I'm not concerned with them, right? Like the video with the bee and the fly. I can't be concerned with trying to prove to the flies of the world that honey's better than shit. I'm just going to voice my opinion. And if you come to my side, so be it. I want to see the dynamics, the yin and the yang of man and woman begin to complement each other. A good woman complementing a good man. When he increases, she decreases. And a good man complementing a good woman. When she increases in her receptive and nurturing and emotional strengths, that he or decreases, and they complement each other. And it's this ebb and flow dance of harmony, and by God, that's beautiful. If we could ever remove ourselves that relationships are this 100% Hollywood, here's your flowers, intimate Hallmark movie, and get into the reality that relationships at first and foremost are a partnership. I'm committed to you. I'm committed to be trustworthy. I'm committed to be loyal. I'm on your side. And I have my strengths and I have my weaknesses. And when I'm increased in my strength, you will be you will decrease. And when you're increased, I will decrease. And it's this flow of night and day that works beautiful. And that's how nature works. It's the biological aspect of sustainability. We've got to begin to surrender our selfishness. We've got to surrender our pride. We've got to get back to the basics. Get back to what's natural in nature. Call it God, call it evolution, call it biology. I don't care what you call it, but we see it, we know it. There is this connection and this interplay. There is a yin and yang to all things. When there's too much chaos, we need order to come in. When there's too much order, we need a little chaos. Men and women represent this, and we need to quit downplaying their strengths. Women are emotional, yes, but that's needed when a man's too logical. And logic, it's good. It's good for men to be logic and strong and assertive in those manners. But if you get too strict, then you're not flexible enough to bend with the changes of time. So we need women with those emotional strengths to come in and give some insight. And if we can't trust each other, and if we haven't shown each other that we're loyal, then we'll never get to be a part of that interplay, that interconnection where the polarities coexist in something that's beautiful, that's meaningful. There are strong men out there. And yes, they may be assertive and they may be masculine, but thank God, because that's needed. And there are women out there that are emotional and in tune with some things that men may never be. But God, that's a strength, and that's beautiful. And we need to begin to applaud the strengths of women. We need to begin to applaud the strengths of men. And one of the most important aspects in that is that we need women applauding masculine men, and we need those masculine men applauding the feminine, in tune with their emotions women. We don't need this divisiveness and this argumentative state of you're horrible and we're better, because we see both sides on the extremes doing that. And it's beginning to influence and have crucial influence over that majority that just wants to be good and find a good partner. And there's many different avenues that have influence over this, but at the very basics, I just want to see a society that applauds good, strong women, that applauds good, strong men. We gain some insight into what's traditional, what's sustainable. We grab a hold of some values and some virtues that strengthen both. And one more key component in regards to the yin and yang, when there are some men that we would say, oh, he's in touch with his feminine side, let's remove ourselves from saying those things. Let's just say that's a strong masculine man that is also in tune with some emotions and some feelings. And when there's a woman that maybe is a little more in tune with her masculine side, instead of calling her a tomboy or putting these idiotic ideas into her head, let's just applaud her for being a strong feminine woman that has strong characteristics as well. We're creating this identity crisis by saying, oh, you're too feminine. Oh, you're not a man. Oh, you're so masculine. You're not a woman. Let's start teaching our women to be strong women with a plethora of characteristics. Let's start teaching our men to be strong men, even though they may be in tune with emotions. That's needed. We need men that can get in touch with some feelings that men couldn't. We need women that can get in touch with some things that other women can't. It's this great yin and yang that plays off of each other. We need to begin to complement each other. We need to begin to applaud each other for being strong and masculine. We need to begin to applaud women for being strong and feminine. We need not blame each other. We need not create this chasm. We need this yin and yang, if for nothing else, to further our species. But more importantly, we need it because God, there's nothing more beautiful than being with a strong woman that knows her feminine side. She knows when to increase and be strong. She knows when to decrease and get into that inner stoic side to figure out what's best for her family, for her man. And when we begin to see this play out, we're going to see a dramatic shift in society because we're going to see a partnership between man and woman that goes far beyond this booty call dating app society that we've created where neither male or female trust each other and there's this division. I want to see good men applaud good women. I want to see good women applaud good men. And I want to see this happen in a dynamic where each can fulfill that role of feminine or the femininity. Femininity, is that a word? And where the man can embrace masculinity. And my God, we'll see something amazing. And you can say I'm a dreamer, you can say whatever. But the story of Brutus and Portia in very trying and difficult times. He's under duress. She's under the duress of I want this to work. He's got some political a political revolution going on, but they still found their trust. They still found their loyalty. And we live in a day and age where some revolutionary and big things are happening. Up is down, down is up. And it would be amazing to have a partner that can interplay and complement you in that intimate level, in that trust level, in that loyal level. And I believe we can begin to see that if we would begin to have conversations and begin to seek the truth and quit looking at the extreme feminist to picture what a majority of women are, and quit looking to the extreme chauvinist to what represents a man. They're both wrong. They're both idiots. They're both extreme. There's a middle ground where men are still good and where women are still good. And we need to quit pitting ourselves against each other and find that golden mean where we can connect, complement each other, applaud each other, trust each other, and be loyal to each other. I love you guys. You'll hear me next episode.